Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw. Before we start the actual intent of the gathering today, we got word of a loved one going home to the spirit world to be with our ancestors. So as in our way, I will ask for a moment of silence and to send your love, your respect, and your good heart and energy to the family who lost a daughter, who lost an aunt and mom. And to remember the family today as we continue. And as hard as it is, we still are here to walk our lives. But to remember them in our heart and our mind. I'll ask you, and however you want, bow your head, look up to the sky for a moment of silence and prayers for family. Wait. Gwa'sala. So we are here to celebrate, to walk with one another, walk all the other participants, and they were doing their moment of silence on the other side. Doing their moment of silence. The boat is coming, and the process will have Wallace and the Moogwees receive the boat as guests into the Kwagil territory. We'll hear them singing, and once our singers here, then we'll pick up on this side to reciprocate the joy and the excitement and the work that's going to be done here today. And we'll have some speakers after the blessing and such. And so I'll call on my brother singers to join the rest of the singers over here so that we're ready to go. So while we wait to hear their voices, there was a meeting last night, and the table has been set for a traditional gathering of leaders. And we'll get in more into that later on. We are here to celebrate, and part of the meeting was to have the quadrilaterals open, because this is the land that we are sitting on, standing on, and in our ways they welcome us. And I know that the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw have always been grateful for the quadrilaterals, for Sogwadi and the old age ancestral relationship with the Nakwaxda'xw and the Gwa'sala. Have lots of marriages amongst the quadrilaterals and the other Nakwaxda'xw nations. So for some of you who don't understand that, Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw have set the bar quite high culturally for our people. There's a lot of riches that come from them. And so we're here to celebrate by adding on to their endeavors to be successful in this world, so that their people and children can be stable and equal in that par with society. Understanding that our definition of success is different. So we are having to walk two worlds as Indigenous people. And I've always said our people are smart, because we've got to learn our ways as well as the European ways.
Gwa'sala, Gwa'sala to the chiefs, Gwa'sala to the Gwa'sala. We are asking permission to come ashore. We are tired, and we have come a long way, and we're asking if we can land. Gwa'sala.
Yo, waitress, Wallace Pagos, thank you for being here and thank you for coming. The Pagos welcome you to the Fort Rupert land. The 5 watersheds of Fort Rupert stretching over here to the Nentish River. Welcome to the 5 watersheds of the Pagos. Thank you. Yeah, we'll tie up.
You have our chief share some words with you. Kaila Kasla, Hislavas, Wanuk, Pudli Dukame, Seaweedy. That looks like a pretty heavy canoe. Your arms must be pretty tired. We gladly welcome you ashore so you can rest your arms. Well, Hislavas is returning the words of Wallace Nakwaxda'xw, so thanking him of opening his arms to accept them here to do what they need to do today. Wallace Nakwaxda'xw. We'll give our chiefs time to reacquaint with one another. So they walked the path together for many years at the various tables that they represent. And I look forward to walking with my brothers down the road in this manner. It's so heartwarming to see the love and respect that our chiefs show for one another. And after they're done, we will come Khalifa. We will bless the vessels so that the workers are safe and that they are protected when they travel the waters. We cannot take for granted what Mother Earth and her power has. We've lost so many people as fishermen throughout our lives as a people who have fished up in Rivers Inlet and the various inlets. I've heard lots of stories of our people being lost to the water, and even in the river at home in Kintam. So this is why we are here, to bless these vessels for safe passage for the workers. David was wonderful. if you guys are ready with Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw First Nation. So for you, this is to help you as you travel, the work that you do for the nations and supplying and helping the lifeline, not only for yourselves, but for the different areas you serve, that when you go on these waters, that you will be okay, that you are protected, and to understand and to believe and accept it for yourself, however you want. That we share our good intentions with you, and that hoping you do the same when you come onto these boats. Okay, Lakasla. So we'll call on Wanuk, and I don't know whether they can come back here, the crew, so we can make room for a couple of words. And to share some of the differences of our world. For us, these are boxes of treasures, but that's our names, our songs, and our dances. But my understanding in the context of economic development, it is for stability for our people. And I'm not saying wealth, because our words need to be chosen. I want to share with you with one of my supervisors when I was working at the hotel. And don't take it the wrong way because I'm sharing verbatim. But he said, you know, Charles, us white people got it all wrong. And I said, well, what do you mean? We walk through life obtaining all of this wealth. We're too busy to enjoy it. But for us as a people, we've always lived with what was just needed. It was never in excess. It was never to amounts that we put ourselves in debt or whatever, however you have it. And so this is what the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw wanting, is that stability, not the great wealth, you know. And so this is a good starting point. So wait here,
for your words. I just wanted to correct a little bit. Our chief had acknowledged our singers, his nephews. Now how important it is to our people. A cultural genocide was real for the majority of us. We had an identity crisis, and he wanted to acknowledge the singers for what they represent, the songs they share as very sacred in our hearts to our people. To each one of you, that I shared your gift, shared who you are, what you are. I just want to acknowledge everyone that has come to be with us today. It is a momentous day. It is something that we would like to ensure that we will be moving collectively in a way that can benefit not only the people of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw, but all the people around us, that we may actively be a part of the Nakwaxda'xw, allowing us to work within the traditional territory. The generous nature of the Nakwaxda'xw has always been something that you can't question. It's always been there. The arms are open, the hearts are open, and they just extend love and support to anyone that comes. I want to share something that happened. I was driving Thomas Point And I bumped into one of the chiefs there. And he said, "Oh, you come to visit." He gave me a bag of oranges. He said, "I don't have anything else." And that was just the hospitality and the love that they have for everyone. And maybe a little thing, a trivial to some people, but it means a lot. I'll cherish that memory for a long time. The generous nature they have demonstrated over the years. Just wanted to expand a little bit on what has happened, the blessing of the part of the fleet that we've gotten to so far. No, it's not just a token gesture. We acknowledge our good Lord for the gift He has given us. We pray for the safety of all the operators of these vessels and everything that is used in their work. It's not just let's say prayer. They're thinking, 20 years, 30 years, that prayer, that blessing covers them. It covers them to operate in a good way. I witnessed my brother blessing a tree, a cedar tree for our big house. And some of the people that witnessed actually thought he was worshiping that tree. But if you understand the language, it would say, for giving this tree to us. May its use be good for what it is intended for. And he prayed for safety of anyone that touched it, anyone that worked with it, that it will go to the intended use. And I just thought I needed to expand a little bit in that. So we do have ways for every part of our lives. A blessing of coming of age of the child, a coming of age of the young ladies. And it pulls us together, pulls our hearts together. Well, this is just a small part of what our traditions have kept alive. We are fortunate in that there are many, many of our elders that aren't here today that gave us that gift. You need to nurture, you need to help it grow. You can't go just fast-paced into everything. Slow down and do what you need to do, such as this blessing. Pulling our hearts together, we can collectively pray for the safety of our workers so that this will be productive, that this will work in a good way, not only for themselves, but wherever or whatever is going to provide by the work that is carried out here. I say, to every one of you for being here. There will be other words said as we move along. I say, to the singers, to our chiefs, our elders, our special guests. I've seen it somewhere, Mayor. To Maui for the partnering that we have developed over the years, and we know that we can move a lot further. Enjoying, I just wanted to touch a little bit. We have attempted partnering with other industries over the years. We got burned big time. It hurt. We thought we were selling into something really positive, and we were taken advantage of. Now we took the initial steps to generate something more positive. Generate where we can honor, and that is a big part of our traditional teaching, is honor and respect. That hasn't been fragmented by other justice that has happened in the past with other industries. I say Gwa'sala to you for doing that with our people. You know, there is a long ways to go in terms of where we want to reach and how we'd like to achieve everything that we're putting on the table here. I say Gwa'sala to especially as we want our young people, you know, pick this up and work with it. It's not just a, I say again, a token gesture. It's something that has an immense meaning to our people, sacred to our people, and the direction that we go. I love you all.
Thank you for your words. And today is twofold, even though it's the same host. But our intentions here is separate from up there. You'll hear about that later. And to share, you know, that there will be some concerns, but we'll address that later amongst our traditional leaders here and whoever wants to come. And so I'll call on Cyrus to share a few words. He's the CEO of Galaxy Economic Development, and then we'll sing a celebration song after this, and then we'll all make our way back to Terra Park.
Eddie, thought you'd get away over there. I don't think so. Gwa'sala to the Quays, this territory for your hospitality. Gwa'sala to the nations that I serve, the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw. And it is with such an honor and a privilege I get to serve these nations. This nation is one, and to be inspired by leaders like Eddie. And as CEO of KEDC, Quasi Economic Development Corporation, my role is to support, to foster, to engage so that we can grow, so that we can ensure that the nation's economic self-determination is moved forward in a strong, powerful way that is in alignment with the nation's culture, that is in alignment with their tradition, that is in alignment with their values. So I today am here to thank people like Eddie, the leaders, for creating this entity and for creating a vehicle for social change, a vehicle for prosperity, a vehicle for stability, a vehicle that will create jobs, that will create hope, that will create an economic future where the youth, Eddie himself and his business, this company has grown from 6 people to 22 plus people in a year and a half. They've started a Junior Mariners program where they have youth coming from the community who are engaging, who are getting certifications, who are able to enter in a career path into a long-term, sustainable career. But those careers could be at risk because of unilateral decisions, because of government intervention that takes away the economic self-determination of this nation. And it's important that we recognize that. And as someone who's been entrusted as a steward, I will fight that. And I will ensure that I walk hand in hand, not in front, not behind, but beside, as this nation has asked me to. The future is bright for this community. The future is bright with leaders like Eddie, Gwa'sala, with the elders and the guidance of the hereditary chiefs. And it's an honor to serve here. And what's amazing is the unity that we've begun to see around these issues, around self-determination, about the economic survival and sustainability of these groups, and we will press on. And I just want to thank you for being here today, and I want to thank you for participating and acknowledging what has been created. And it's certainly not me, it is certainly this nation and the elders and the people like Eddie and the young people that are coming up to build this. So, Gwa'sala, thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for acknowledging what is here.
Yeah, I just want to just kind of echo some of Cyrus's sentiments about the young man standing beside me. Without his commitment, his dedication to what we're sitting on, what we're blessing today, wouldn't be possible. He often comes and chats with me, talks to me about stressful days, stressful weeks. I just tell him, you know, like, you're doing something for our people, our community, the economic benefits, the work, the crew behind us here. A few of our members are working on these tugs. My nephew, Honda, back there. A couple of the young ones that are over there running our water taxis. This is what it's about with him. His vision is to create jobs and opportunities for our people, our young ones especially, because that's what we strive for. The Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw, that we will provide jobs for our memberships. Our guests from up north spoke about that last night, about them working and not collecting essay checks, but actual paychecks every 2 weeks. This is what we're about now, First Nations. Far too long we depended on welfare, but now that's changing, that we are having jobs. And for Eddie to put his best foot forward for our nation really speaks of his commitment, his vision for us. I cannot stand back and not say anything, how proud we are of him to do what he has done for this, what we're here for, and our blessing of our boat, our touch, and our boat, barge, sorry. Thank you, Eddie. Keep walking that, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Dave, for being here with us today, and all our guests from the District Port Hardy, District Port McNeil. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. Our singers, you know, thank you. I just felt I needed to kind of share some of the other stuff from me. I'm really close to this young man. I'm really proud of him for what he's been doing. And all the young men that have been working on our boats as well. It's just an amazing spirit. Chief Patty has often talked about it, not often, numerous times, about the future of our people. It comes from the young ones. I also want to thank Cyrus, our CEO of our KADC, for his commitment to our people, to our nation. Without him, you know, where would it be? For him to step in and turn things around is really, we're really grateful for that, Cyrus. Thank you, and for the team that you work with. Thank you. Gwa'sala.
Because we are here with this intention of the working relationship, and we want to separate the both intentions, but I'll share some of my words as myself, because they talked about self-determination, and out of curiosity I did take a look at the First Nations Coalition's page around finfish, and it talks about traditional inherent right. So I'll speak to you, my relative, in bluntness or whatever, that if you want to be traditional, then you call your traditional leaders. Because I understand and see what's happening amongst the Howitz East and Montague. And I ask you to reach out to your traditional leaders so that, like the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw, that you walk strong with your traditional leaders, because you can't do anything without them. And I say this out of love and respect. And we come amongst one another sometimes, you know. And so I'm asking you on behalf of all of our traditional leaders to reach out to them if you want to be traditional in your approach. And I know the strength of the Tlawitsis and the Mamtagila culturally is strong, and you need that voice with you if you want to do that type of endeavor. And it goes for all of our Kwa'kwa'kua people and all of the nations up and down this coast. For too long, Chief and Council have taken that approach, but today we are marrying two systems, the elected and the traditional, and from that could only come greatness for the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw and for the Kwa'gyo who come and will add more later. But I'm just sharing that if our entities want to be traditional, then you need to call on them, because that true representation comes from the land and their chiefs. They don't come from elected. They don't come from umbrella organizations. Those are things that come about to show unity, but with coming from the wrong point of view. So I just wanted to share that, because our intent is to separate whatever might come of this for some of our people or some of the ones witnessing, because my brother and I understand what this does amongst our Kwa'kwa'kua. And so we will leave the energy and celebrate with a song, and I'll prepare myself for anything that might come at me later from my family. But it is love and respect that I stand with you, Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw, in yourself, right, in our historic relationship. And I spoke to that last night. So whenever the call is happening, I will come and stand with you. And it's already continued with my brother Pungwidi, or both Pungwidis over there. You know, I have my love and camaraderie with them. So, awake ya, Dinoka. Dalkalaklan, Mumukyala, Mamula Kula. concludes our ceremony here. And the boats will plow back in and we'll slowly load them. And we're going to meet along the walkway here. Our singers and our Giga Kamehameha will walk ahead of you. And we're going to walk along the back side, along the walkway, I guess. And then we're going to pop up behind the tents. You're going to be going to see if it's springtime yet. So we'll start loading the boats. I don't know which order or who's loading up first. I'm just a speaker, I'm not logistics. Before we move over,
Appreciate the heads up.
Sorry, we're popping around. Probably some kind of liability thing. Probably some kind of liability thing. I don't think you're right.
I'm thinking, I don't know about that. Scary. Hey. Good, Dan. See you. Good. Good to see you. One of the other guys. I'm not sure. One of the other guys.
That's me. Well, yeah, he's familiar to me.
Pardon me?
coming on here, I guess we can split up a little bit.
How you feeling? Been through a few years here. Yeah.
Sounds good.
speak over here representing the Nakwaxda'xw Nation. The strength you have is so amazing.
Yeah.
You taught really well.
You can start going now.
But Mum last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I know. I just did a whole batch of clams and cockles. Yeah. On my feast.
Double climbing on the sidewalk with the grass.
I think the grass is good.
Yeah.
You're a bit bigger than that, dude. Come on.
Mama did come today. She's over there in the van. Yeah.
get muddy here, guys.
Kila
Good guy, have your tripod.
Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw We are ready to begin this portion of today's events. My name is Charles Woolley and I'm your MC for today from the point of view of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw. I'll call on Wallace Namugwis of the Kwagilth to come and welcome us to the events and to the territories of the Kwagilth. Awakia Wallace Namugwis.
Yo, Wixus, thank you for coming to this, what we're here to engage on, what we talk about, but I would like to thank the GNN for recognizing the Kwagilth from Fort Rupert. As a Kwagilth, we have these 5 watersheds within our territory here, and this is Fort Rupert land, and I just thank you for Gwa'sala for acknowledging the Kwagilth. You know, there's so much history amongst all the Kwakiwak nations, and we're all interconnected through marriage of thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Is why we always shared all our resources together. But I would like to thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Well, I've asked our leaders to open with a prayer and ask you to pray or be grateful in the moment, however you do choose for yourself.
Each one of you for coming. It will be in our hearts for a long time. Known attendance and support by so many people. No, it's a gigantic step, and I pray that will be the right direction for all of our people. No, and I just want to ask you to bow with me in prayer, so that we will ask our good Lord to be a part of what is happening today and guide us in all that is so important. I just ask you to, dear Lord Jesus, we come to you, Lord, once again thanking you for the day you've given each one of us, dear Lord. We just ask you to continue to be with us and be with those loved ones that are around us that couldn't be here. Our families, our communities that we represent, watch, care over each one. Dear Lord, we just ask you to be with the families in grieving, the families that are hurting, loss of loved ones. We ask you now, Lord, to just be with us, guide us in all that we do today, and open our hearts that we may truly become one, as our forefathers have always expressed to us through their stories, their songs, and their teachings. We say, to each one here, bless each one, bless this gathering, bless the speakers, and dear Lord, be with all of our children that we are representing. We pray in Jesus' name, amen.
We now will move on to the reason why you all have been invited here today. Now, this is separate from what you witnessed on the screens down at the waterfront. Gaining strength. I'll call on the various traditional leaders Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw First Nation, Yakawidi, Akela, Nankamasu, Akakirisu Hehes, Akakwe Dama, Wallace Quadro, Fudli Dakama, Hislamas, Dixie Salis Mewakias, Seaweedy, Delaja. So I want to ask again, Wanya, she goes to speaker somewhere, I guess. I'll ask Wanya to prepare his words. From my understanding last night, he is the one delivering the statement of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw in support of the traditional leaders, not only from Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw, but our Wallace Quadro have also come to sit at this table and to work together with the intention of what this announcement is going to be. So Wekia Wanu.
Gwa'sala once again. You know, we come to a point in the history of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw people. Indeed, so many of our First Nations that hopefully will give us a better foothold in what has been happening historically to our people. What has continued to be exacerbated by policies, federal policies on our fisheries. We now have to take a stand. We now have to express something that is so vital to the existence of our people in our own lands, our territories. We pray that we will express a message that will be conveyed across this province, if not across this country. How important is that we need to take back the control, take back what was rightfully ours, because at no time did we give any kind of okay to anyone to do the management or caretaking of our resources, in particular the fisheries resource. We all know what has happened so recent, the decimation of all species of the fish in all of our waters. What has happened there. And we can say from experience in our traditional territory, Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw, the harm that has happened through mismanagement of DFO. What has happened is there is virtually no species of salmon, some salmon in those rivers that was so abundant. We find ourselves at this time the importance of asserting what governments fail to see or to recognize, that the First Nation does have traditional law. And to express that in a way, we are going to take over that part of legislation that has oppressed us for too long, to the extent that we have to assert traditional law that is represented. Standing here today, we have others out there that have given support in the efforts that we take. Our statement is that we will take over licensing of all areas, and that is inclusive of the fire fish industry within our traditional territory. We are asserting and expressing very strongly that our law, traditional law, exists, and we will not be questioned. We will not be put in a compromising role that has happened so much in the recent history. So I say on behalf, I'm only the spokesperson, but I have with me the chiefs that are supporting that direction, and maybe working with other First Nations, we have been blessed with support of the municipality, the mayor of Port Hardy, and it has given us a better foothold and a better direction in terms of exercising that traditional law, where it will be covered not only in this one specific area, we'll be licensing or authorizing other fisheries within our traditional territory. And we will be exercising, stating the traditional law of our people that will be practiced. Again, not to be questioned, not to be applied by a federal oppressive policy that has happened. We are moving in a direction that we pray will be progressive for all our people. We have a vast number of younger generation that needs a tool to work with. And we have asserted that to do this, we have to make that statement of who we are, where we are. DFO, you are not going to come into our area or territories and dictate what has happened, what you have done to our people. We will do this, literally, hell or high water come. I'll kiss my hand.
Strong words, a notice to the municipality, to BC and to Canada. Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw. We are the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw. And it is us that you come and seek our permission, our input into our lands and territories. I am speaking from their point of view, because all of these you see here, their names come from the land. They have responsibilities to the land, not only rights, but responsibility. And they are picking it up today. And they're telling DFO, they're telling Ministry of Forests, all the different ministries of Canada and BC, and even maybe the municipality, no more. But in that same breath, they're not saying no. They're saying you come and talk to us, not to Canada, not to BC. But they also understand all of us. We're here together, and we need to make it work for all of us, because none of us are going anywhere. But they are here standing strong in their right and in their responsibility, that yes, you have to come see these ones you see standing here if you want to do anything in their territory, because it's their responsibility to look after their lands. And that is what they are asserting here today with the support of Wallace the Mugris, because the Quagos are doing the same thing. Canada, BC, you come and talk to us. And more directly, the District of Port Hardy come talk to the Gwa'sala, because this, Gwa'sala, is Kwagyo's land. And so the district needs to understand, you don't talk to Chief and Council. You go to the hereditary leaders first, and then none will call us, or Gilka with Chief and Council. This is the strength. This is the voice of the people. The nation is just elected, but these are the people. And I'm telling you that out there who don't understand this, to listen and to learn so that you can walk with us, so that we can walk together for all of our children, yours and ours. Like I said, none of us are going anywhere now. That's a reality. But they're looking out for the interests of their children. They say they look 7 generations behind us or ahead of us to make sure that the land is okay for them to live off still. So that is the message today. That is the strength of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw and the Gwa'sala, hoping that this table will get better or bigger amongst the Kwa'sala, hoping that the Namgis will come sit, the Mamalekala, the Flawitsis, all the traditional leaders come and sit as Kwa'sala leaders and tell Canada and BC no more. Tell the municipalities, come and see us. That is the bigger intent, is for all of the Kwa'sala to stand together. And we meaning them, is they invite you to come and to be a part of this table of asserting rights and title from a traditional point of view. And I'll call on Nakwaxda'xw to share a letter from my understanding from the Kidisu Khaykhais. He is here as a representative for them. There are relatives from the north.
Today, I take my headpiece off. This is not my territory, because I respect the territory I come into. Because it's across the way. I don't want to step in anyone's toes, or there's protocol. So I just want to say on behalf of my community, I'd like to thank the guys, the chiefs and the leaders here for inviting me to come up and be part of this. And we support what you guys have going. You know, we've been working back home in my community with Maui for 21 years. And we have lots of people. And yeah, I don't want to say too much, but you know, this is your time. This is what you need. You got to kind of bring it in, soak it in what's going on, because that's the best way to kind of look at things. Yeah, that's what all I got to say, because my wife is here, she told me only 2 minutes, so.
Nakwaxda'xw. There's some other letters that will be read.
Good afternoon. Just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everybody for being here today on behalf of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation. It's been a long haul for our nation. As Charles has shared throughout the day, our chiefs behind us has set that mandate for Chief and Council to take this monumental step
taking back what's rightfully ours. That's the waters of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw territories. Far too long we have allowed DFO to do what they've done, the lies, the deceits, and just everything above and below it. DFO has done this for years and years and years, and today's the day that we're going to take that back and, you know, prosper. Ask my grandson to come. Sadly, because that's what it's about, is our future. That's what our chiefs has often spoke to us about. It's for these guys that we stand up today and we fight back, we take back what's been rightfully ours. It's for this young man that we are here today, and all the children of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation. I got a letter here from the Kitasoo Economics. We are writing in support of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation and Sakla Sikula in their formation of North Vancouver Island Indigenous Aquaculture Management Zone. Kitasoo Nation will support and collaborate with the nations on common concerns and issues related to salmon farming generally. This could include participating in their work, signing joint letters, and additionally seeking to establish and define a collaborative and constructive relationship to achieve concrete outcomes that are mutually beneficial to all parties. To guide cooperation between First Nation governments in the development of a legislative and policy approach to the management of aquaculture in the traditional territories. To share resources and services in developing appropriate scientific and traditional knowledge related to the management of aquaculture. To consider the efficiency of and where appropriate promotion of aquaculture has an important opportunity for the First Nation communities, and to provide mutual political support in the insertion and exercise of self-determination and self-governance, particularly with respect to jurisdiction over agriculture. Kitasoo Nation looks forward to collaboratively working with other nations on this critical issue.
Kela kasla hisamas. Kela ja. Furuk. Kakla se kola. Call on my son, my nephew Gabe. My understanding, the Kakla se kola, we're going to share a few words.
I also just want to take this opportunity to really give our gratitude to Chief Paddy Wakas. His fight that he's fought for our nation has not gone unnoticed by our community. His commitment to stand at the table and give back his knowledge to anybody that comes across our path. If it wasn't for his leadership, his guidance, his teachings, we won't be here today. I just wanted to share that to Chief Paddy. Gela Kesla.
So before Gabe shares his words, we'll call Eddie to come stand with them.
acknowledge and respect what my mother band, Nakwaxda'xw are doing today. We've been in partnership with Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw for a number of years, and we like to see better outcomes for our First Nation in this partnership to reveal to the outside world are more of our people involved in the industry. That's what my husband had worked so hard to get going for our people. It hasn't happened yet, and it's been a number of years this has been going on. But I am very thrilled to be part of this gathering today. It's monumental in my mind because of the fight, the struggle, the light at the end of the tunnel that my husband had seen. That what his fight and his dreams to vanish, and they carry it out with the help of my Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw people where I was born into, to get somewhere. It's 3 years in May that he's left us, and you want his dream just to vanish and die off. But, my grandson was supposed to be talking, and my daughter's not in town, but I'm emotional. I feel emotional. I see a lot of my family around, and today one of my relatives passed away, and that makes me more emotional. But I just pray that there be strength sent to the mother and the rest of the family. I thank Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw for opening the door for us to be part of this movement. We have never given away our rights and titles to anybody, to any company. We own our land, and we want things to happen in our land that belongs to us, and we have a lot of say, more say in the things that happen in our land, not the other way around. It's just been going on silently for years. We want to be recognized as ocean-going people. We own what we own, and we'd like to see that again. I thank Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw for including us in this monumental movement. I thank all the people that are here supporting their movement as well. They left us so far.
Yeah, like my auntie has just mentioned, Uncle Tom, he had a vision, he had wants for his nation. And my nephew beside me, my auntie beside me, my sister, who's not here today, Tiffany, is carrying on that vision, carrying on what Uncle Tom wanted for his nation. And my nephew has been instilled to carry that for Uncle Tom. So Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation had sat down with Auntie Ann, Sister Tiffany, nephew Gabe, and did some talking. And it came to an understanding that us, the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation, with the likes of Kate Easy and Eddie, we can sit down with Nakwaxda'xw and work with them, like Auntie said, ocean-going people. And what today's about, that talks will continue with their nation on what we made a standpoint today. And also that there's an MOU that has been signed between us and them, that we will stand with them, we'll support them in anything that they need done. So that's, we thank you for allowing us to, be a partner with your nation. And thank you once again for everybody for being here. Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw.
Well,
Taylor Kasla, Tatla Sekola, Taylor Kia, Sawitis. One of our leaders, one who could ask to extend an invitation to our relative Dallas to come share a few words. And for future housekeeping references, we'll come up here to share the words at the podium. That's the difference when you have two different systems that play here, but Taylor.
Gwa'sala. I don't know the words to express the honor of being here today to see the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw announce their vision for their territories that they've never lost, even when colonial practices removed them from the homelands that they've reclaimed today. I'm honored to be here, to be a part of this, both from the colonial arena where I do work, but also as a proud member of the Kwak community from the Gwa'sala Nation. And I'm really grateful to be part of watching how those worlds are merging in the right way, in a good way. And I understand the concerns that are out there with the advocacy work that's going on. And so I just want to say messages have been delivered, messages have been heard, and I'm really here today to support my chiefs who I've worked with off and on for years as they've tried to reacquire, as they've helped the world reacquire their vision for their homelands. So I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to be here, and I'm really grateful, and just proud sounds condescending, but there's a pride in my heart today. I saw my chiefs dance, I saw my chiefs sing, and I heard the words that they had for me very clearly. Gwa'sala.
Well, there was some candid words that I shared with my brother in a good way, because when we come and do it in a good way, it builds that relationship. We need to start talking with one another, not at one another. And that those words hit me today. And that with that same breath, I invite the rest of the Kwak to come to this table with the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw and the Wallace Kwagyo from a traditional point of view, to assert your voice. As was said last night, in that assertion of their voice, that in the end, sometimes fish farms might not always be there in their territory. And so that's just, kind of a FYI to Maui and others. And then it's a reality that right now this is what they want and are working for. But down the road, you might say, no, we want to move away from this now. And all of you need to be able to respect that and accept that for one another, because it is their vision for themselves, and that they will look at it that way respectfully. And now I'll call upon the elected hold that all. Things never go as planned as always. I'll call on Wallace Namugris. And it's like this in our potlatches too.
So. I just want to really to emphasize that, talk about the history of the Kwak people. Vancouver Island, we got three nations, the Coasalish, the Nachanok, and they got the Kwak. We stretch from Comox to Smith's Inlet, and we're the Kwak. But I'm Kwagyo from Fort Rupert. And then during our traditional government system in our big house, our coppers mean everything for us. It's who we are and where we do. And I got to talk this timeline. And
1836, Fort Simpson was established. Within 1 year, they heard about Fort Rupert had coal because the British ships needed coal to power again. So the banning of the potlatch was 1849, and within 1851, Fort Rupert has 2 Douglas treaties signed within I guess it's the British, before it was actually our country that we call today is Canada. So, but this history is so important to know your roots and who you are and where you come from is everything in life. Because as humans, we never own nothing. We're just the caretakers for the moment. Is why our children are so prized, and why we lift our children up, and why we pass it on to them when they're young, so they can carry on the traditions and the knowledge of the people of the land. And there's so much history, and talking about like the early 1900s is when they really threw us in the schools. And then in 1951 it was uplifting of the potlatch ban, but that's when the government made us have electoral chiefs and councillors. Then it became divide and conquered. But through thousands and thousands and thousands of years of intermarriage is why all Kwa'kwa'kiwak and neighboring nations shared all our resources is through intermarriage. So I just had to come here and just to make a point and talk about the history of the timeline for the Kwa'kwa'kiwak people. You know, there's 18 tribes amongst us at one time, but because back in the day they formed 2 tribes into one, we're down to 16 now. But so I just had to come here just to talk a little bit of the history of the Kwa'kwa'kiwak, which is so important because reading all these laws that were implemented back in the day, they were only meant for resource extraction, had nothing to do with people of the land. But our nations, our Kwa'kwa'kiwak people, we had our laws, we had old laws, we had laws before the boat people came here. And that's what we're asserting today is our hereditary right as stewards of the land. And something about DFO, it's been half a century of mismanagement. We had the East Coast running the West Coast. They never knew nothing about the West Coast. But look what they did to the East Coast. Thank God their cause finally coming back. You know, like there's so many concerns and red flags coming up in my mind from watching, being born and raised here in Port Hardy for almost 50 years now. And I watched the salmon industry flourish so wonderful, and the mining and the logging. And then in the early 90s, it all went downhill. You know, we're paying $5 1/4 for sockeye back in the 90s. It dropped down to $1 1/4 back in 1992 when the markets fell. But ever since then, it's been kind of hardship for all reservations on the whole coast because the salmon is so important to us. It's our diet, and so are our clams. So on this note, I just wanted to just give you a little brief of the history of the Kwa'kwa'kiwak, and our stories will get heard. We've always knew about what was done so wrong, but how do we make it right is to work together as one big nation as we are the Kwa'kwa'kiwak. Thank you.
It is in that strength that we invite the Kwa'kwa'kiwak to sit with our chiefs here to assert that right. I'm going to keep repeating that so that my brothers amongst the Numgis, Mamalekla, all the way down to the Gomos, listen and come to this table and assert your rights to the world. And I'm also going to say for my brother, I will check in with my Montaguila Slawitsi's relatives to see if they've been approached. Because amalgamation, this forced election system has divided our people. Now it's time to come back to traditional, come back to the authorities of the land, but also working in conjunction with chief and council so that both sides are represented as strongly and that the people don't question it anymore because it's coming from the hereditary. That the chief and council are getting counsel from their family leaders where the true power belongs, so that, I don't like the word membership, but the lineage people understand where their leaders are coming from. I'll call on Leslie and Daryl and Terry. They have some words to say on behalf of the elected side of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw.
Good afternoon once again. So, like it's been said, today is a monumental day for the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation. On the assertion that we're laying it out, I hope clear as day to DFO that we're taking back our way of life, and that's in our waters. I just pointed my grandson to the mountains behind us here. The waters that are around those inlets that's yours. That's mine, it's your dad's, and all the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation. So that land, titles and rights has never been given away. Never. Like I said earlier, it's been pretty loud and clear from my hereditary chiefs on what the elected council, chief and council have to do. And that's to keep fighting the fight that past and present council has fought, and even our hereditary chiefs over time, they have never given up that fight. I often talk to Brother Les, and now it's our turn to continue that fight, and today is that stance on the fact that it's far too, like I said earlier, it's far too long that we have been mistreated from the DFO. We can talk about every aspect of the food that we have harvested from the ocean, whether it's clams, eelgrass, crabs, halibut, lingcod, and of course, the important one is our salmon. So there's numerous stories about what DFO has done to us over the years. And the one that I keep sharing, I keep thinking about that. It was 8 years ago, we had a big sockeye run in Smith Inlet. And DFO sat across from us and told us straight out that they would not open commercial salmon fishing in Smith Inlet until we got our food fish. And you know what happened? We were fishing for 2 days, and we were only able to get 600 fish, sockeye, and DFO turned around and opened up the inlet to commercial fishing. So 600 pieces of fish, sockeye, was supposed to feed 1,200 members of our community. That's the plight that we as a nation went through with DFO. Their lies, their deceit has always happened. And it was such an anger moment for me, knowing that, DFO, outright lied to us. But the guidance and the teachings of our old people showed me something very different that day. That, like for me, going out to a commercial boat, wanting to cut their net, do anything I can to stop them from taking our food fish. But with the guidance of the old people, I was like, no, we need to do a letter. We need to get gifts for these people and share our story. So we did. And then we went to these boats. Some of them were welcoming. Some of them were back off, stay away from the boat, I don't want you near me. But we didn't. We slowly drifted to them. One of our chiefs started sharing our story. And you know what that guy in return? He was almost in tears. I didn't know that this was happening to your guys' nation. I said, if I had salmon in my hatch right now, I would gladly give it to you people, to your nation. It was at that time that I understood that sometimes it's not anger that's going to get me anywhere. It was about being humble and having that pride as the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation. For that guy to almost be in tears and saying that he wanted, if he had that salmon in his hatch, that he would proudly give it to us. So those things have come across our table numerous times. Our crabs and us. Our guardians can't go, we go over there and try to drop some crab traps. to bring home for our elders, and we only can take home 5. There's something wrong there. It's because it's a commercial opening over in Bunning Harbor. We can talk about our halibut. You know, every aspect of our ocean has been taken away from us, but today we're taking it back because it's never, like our chief said, is we've never given it up, at any point in our lives. So today, DFO, the government, better have open ears, because today's the day that, you know, we are going to make that statement. And, you know, I want to thank Chief Dave Knox to stand with us today. Thank you.
Hello, I'd like to apologize. A lot of you probably wondering why I haven't been taking part with my son and Daryl and the rest of the leadership. Unfortunately, you know, I was looking forward to this event, but I lost my niece this morning, and so I couldn't take part in the event. It's just a sad day from my side of the family. But I've always you know, tried to do what is best for our nation. You know, I've worked with Dennis Dugas. You know, at Dallas, gone to meetings. We're here as a nation trying to support Maui, Cernak, and I see a lot of my friends I used to work with at Maui, and what they're trying to take away from us is you see what my nephew Eddie, with these barges that employ a lot of our people. That's what DFO and everybody's trying to take away, and tell us who can and cannot work in our territory. Like I said, I'm very sorry. I'll let my son take over. I just can't, you know. I am supporting everything that is going on. It's just, unfortunately, it's just not a good day for me. Thank you.
So you've heard a lot of reference around the MOU here today, and you've seen our neighboring nations and some nations up the coast share their support of that for the GNN, and I'll try to elaborate for you a little bit more of what that means. So under the guidance of our hereditary leadership and our elders and our matriarchs, we're taking the step of building a legislative framework, regulation. As our first step, we're looking at aquaculture. There's a federal review going on right now of the tenures in our area and along the coast. DFO has claimed that they're consulting with First Nations. This has all happened in the past 2 years in the middle of a pandemic while First Nations elected leadership and hereditary chiefs have been busy in their communities dealing with the pandemic. So how we plan to build that legislative framework and the regulations is to work with our neighboring nations as we've reached out to our neighbors and they've come here to show support of us. We'll work with industry and
we've already been doing a lot of the fisheries management on our own, more so than DFO has. We're quite proud of our Lands and Resources Office, where in the past 3 years we've self-invested over $3 million into salmon research, into working with our partners that we have a farm monitor on these farms every time there's something going on out there, whether that's a transfer, whether it's any treatment, whether DFO sends fish health. We have our own person there monitoring. We have our fisheries crews constantly going to our rivers, monitoring, and it's hard to look around and see any of the investment that DFO has done, whether it comes to monitoring our wild salmon, to, as it was shared, monitoring the stocks of our crabs, our clams, to be constantly told when we want testing done on our traditional beaches that, you know, this isn't an economic feasible area, and then there's no funding for you to test your clams. Or so we've taken that on in-house. We're actively managing it through our Lands and Resources Office. We've already taken these steps quietly. We're building up all our information, and that's what today is about, is that letting everybody know that this is already ongoing, and now we're ready to take that next step and reaching out to our neighbors and building the framework and the announcement of reaching out to neighboring nations to have a North Island management area when it comes to aquaculture, so that it's not people from Ottawa coming and taking away our hereditary leadership's ability to say what happens in their territory, that it's been tasked to us to build the policy, make sure that if there is something happening within the territory, that it's being done right. And we have the capability to do that through our own staff. So that's what the MOU is going to be built upon, is by the research that the nation has done over the years, and to continue that fight from our chiefs that's been passed on to us, and putting DFO on notice that they're not going to come to the North Island and make decisions about important jobs and about the territory that belongs to these chiefs, is that we're going to take that on ourselves, and we're capable of doing that ourselves. So I want to thank everybody. We got a lot of industry partners here today. We got a lot of support from local governments, regional governments, the municipalities, and of course having the chiefs here and doing this in the right way. So at this point, we have some guest speakers that are going to come up next, and there'll be further releases of the formal MOU and how we're going to structure that, and that's to come. So once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us here today.
call on Dennis Dugas, the Mayor of Port Hardy, Gabby Wickstrom, Mayor from McNeil, Michelle Babchuk, MLA for NDP. All three of you can make your way up. And then, while they're speaking, I'll ask the singers to vary your voices for some singing. I'll ask you to make your way up here. Another direction from audio and text. Stand right here.
Okay, I'll start again. Thank you. It's not uncommon for the mic to be turned off before the politicians start to talk. So thank you very much. My name is Michelle Babchuk. I'm the MLA for North Island. I am very honored to be invited onto the traditional territory of the Quaggas today and to be able to take part in this wonderful announcement. In my role, I've been hearing from community leaders that we need to come together to discuss the heightened fear around the aquaculture licenses that might not be renewed, and how communities are feeling dismissed, removed from consultations with the federal DFO minister and her mandated practice around the transition and for the future of our aquaculture sector on the West Coast. So on March 4th, I brought together a group of people to form a table of partners, and I heard a couple of themes very loud and clear. One was that the wind is going to blow my paper all over the place. No. One was that, thanks. The province needed to signal to the federal government that they value this sector, and Premier Horgan needed to relay that directly to the Prime Minister of Canada. And that community leaders wanted to be included in the consultation and had a desire to advocate directly with ministers in Ottawa. So to date, we have seen that letter go directly from the Premier to the Prime Minister, expressing concerns about their federal process, highlighting the need for continued conversation, respecting First Nations rights and title, fulfilling the federal government's commitment to reconciliation, and to consider the economic impacts a hastened decision would be for the North Island communities. I am pleased to see our Premier supporting this work of Indigenous and community leaders in this way. The letter was a clear message from our government on our intentions to work together at all levels to create a stable, well thought out transition plan for finfish aquaculture industry. This was my hope when convening this meeting of First Nations, municipalities, regional districts, Labour, Chamber of Commerce, and industry. And I'm looking forward to traveling to Ottawa very soon with a contingent of North Island leaders to continue this advocacy. I just want to conclude by saying that I'm very proud of being part of a provincial government that is committed to the rights and titles of Indigenous people, to self-determination, and the inherent right of self-government. Thank you for inviting me today to witness this wonderful event, and I really do look forward to continuing to walk this path together. Thank you.
Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Mayor Gabby Wickstrom, Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw. My name is Gabby Wickstrom, and I'm the Mayor of Port McNeil, and I feel very privileged to be here today. I have listened and I've learned a lot. I support you as you walk your path to self-determination. Reconciliation can be uncomfortable sometimes. It's going to be uncomfortable, but that's okay because it's necessary. So I just would like to say that I know that transition will look different for everyone. And if we as municipal leaders can be of any help advocating when 2 years from now the federal government may not have a transition plan for those who have chosen to opt out of aquaculture. We will advocate for you. And for those of us who are looking at different ways of doing aquaculture, we support you as well and will advocate for you also. So thank you very much. It's a privilege.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dennis Dugas, and I'm the mayor of the District of Port Hardy. But first of all, I would just like to, again, recognize that we're on the traditional territory of the Kwa'sala peoples. So, Gwa'sala to everyone. First of all, again, I would like to say thank you to Hereditary Chief David Mungo Knox for our relationship. I believe I can call him my brother. We talk lots about different things with regards to our land that we all share together and that we live on. Not only about the land, we talk about the water. And we talk about all the very important things for us in the future as we move forward. And it's a partnership. We're all in this together. And as David has said many, many times in many talks, and he's talked to me about it a lot, that this is all about us. It's about us all together, working together. And I thank him very much for that opportunity. But then again, we're here to talk about the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw celebration day in regards to their self-determination and about their future. But it's their future, it's our future. We're all in this together. And as we grow together, I know that we can prosper together. There's a lot of things that we can do together. And we're very happy that we have an industry in our community, Moe, that supports this community and supports a lot of other businesses in our community. And we're very thankful for them to be here. They've got a great social license. They've done a lot for our community in a lot of different ways. And we're very, very proud to be partners with them as we move forward. Today's just one day in many days ahead in the fight to maintain our fin fish farm industry in our area. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? But you know what? It's so important to us. But we're also, as we work with our Kwa'sala youth, Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw Nation, and the Quatsino, the Numgis, whatever, we're talking about the wild salmon and how important that is for our communities and for the North Island. And we're working together. And we've had a number of meetings, actually, because I know that the Gwa'sala, the Kwa'sala youth, actually, is doing a project on the Klaksiwi River, and they're also concerned about the Keo and the Kwatsi. As David has already mentioned, they have 5 watersheds in their traditional territory. And we want that to grow. We want the wild salmon to come back. And we're very, very supportive of that, and we're working together with DFO to make that happen. And we do know that there's some money's coming up here in the future with BC Salmon Restoration Innovation Fund, $147 million. And we want a big part of that. We want that money to come into our areas. Not only to this area, but also to the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw area. Because I know they're doing a lot, as Leslie's already mentioned, the importance of that. But also the importance, as Charles has already mentioned, about how important it is that we work with our hereditary chiefs and all of our nations in our area. And not only that, our elected officials. And we're working together with them always. And it's very, very important that we continue to do that. And the future for our North Island is all based on that. I'm very proud to say that our District of Port Hardy has endorsed the UNDRIP. And we also are very supportive of the government's DRIPA, the Plan for Reconciliation and the importance of understanding the rights and the title of our Indigenous nations in our area. And we're very supportive of that, and we want to work together with them to be successful as we move forward. So thank you very much for everybody coming here today and being supportive of this celebration. And not only that, but being supportive of this industry, because it is our future. It's a part of our future. And I know that. And I really truly believe in my heart, because science has proven it already, that the wild salmon and the finfish industry in our waters can exist together. But we have to work hard to make it happen. And we have to make sure that we continually keep improving it. And I know that the industry is always working in their technology to make it better. They're always working in innovative ways so it has less harm to the environment, which we all have a concern about. None of us here want our environment damaged. We want to improve it continually. But we do know that this is an opportunity to move forward. And I'm very, very happy to be here today. And I thank you very much, the hereditary chiefs. And again, I'd like to just say to my brother Patty, we've known each other for a long, long time, and I'm very proud to call him also my brother, and as we work together. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak to you. So Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw to everyone. Am I going to sing? No.
Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw to the elected representation from our relatives in the communities. And I understand about the science, and I talked with Cyrus that we can go back and forth about the science, but that's neither here nor there. Today is about the relationship between our groups of people, whether it's the elected municipalities, the elected chief and council, and more importantly, the hereditary leaders. The relationship is the biggest thing. And that's what we need to work on. Because in that relationship, you'll come to understand that some nations might not want it. And so that's what I'm sharing, that, it's okay to say no. And it's okay to say yes when you need to. And so with that, there is a letter that Daryl and Leslie will be sharing, and then we'll move on after that. Like any program, we have add-ons and subtractions. Okay.
So we got a letter from the Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations. Dear Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw First Nations, thank you for your correspondence of March 11th, 2022, inviting me to the North Vancouver Island and Coastal First Nations boat blessing and Fisheries Aquaculture Memorandum of Understanding announcement scheduled for March 25th, 2022. While I regret that I will not be able to attend the event in person, I would like to extend my congratulations to the Fisheries Aquaculture Memorandum of Understanding. This important accomplishment is a testament of the Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw First Nations' hard work and dedication. As Canada has taken action to support people, businesses, and organizations in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, your support for the implementation of Bill C-15, an act respecting the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and for objectives of self-determination and reconciliation, is an important stepping stone towards the building of nation-to-nation, Inuit, Crown, and government-to-government relationships based on respect, partnership, and recognition of rights. I look forward to working with you more in the future, and I hope that the event is a success. The Honorable Mark Miller.
Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw, building on reconciliation, it needs to come from our worldview. It needs to come how we understand this earth and the environment, how we relate to it. It needs to come from our people to make it work. And that we open our hands to you, Canada, BC, and the municipalities to come walk with us and look through our eyes what it means to be in this world. As well as you know as much as I do, we walked with you in your world for hundreds of years, and it's proven not to work for us. I say it because it's true. I say it because of what I've seen living in the city, living what I didn't know was a reserve. Kinkham was just home to me. It wasn't IR number 1 for the Tsawadane Oak. It was home. I didn't know about reserves until I grew up older, when I moved to Alert Bay. So we ask you, our relatives, my dad says the settler nation, to come walk with us, the Kwa'kwa, the Nuchano, the Salish, all the other nations what you know as BC. Go to them and have them explain to you reconciliation. And to my people, though, at the same time, look at yourself and what you bring to the process because of our own internal struggles. And so I share that with you, you know, that in reality, our walk with the settler nation hasn't been good for us as a people. So reconciliation comes from us, and we invite you to walk with us and to have your input falling upon respectful ears and wisdom of our chiefs and elders. And Ela Hislamas, and then our singing and dancing. We'll have Eddie, if Eddie's around. If not, we can wait until later. Everyone else looking around him to see if he's here. He might be busy with the boats. He from us wanted to do something for our brother, but I'll call on our singers now. And for all of you who brought your regalia, we will sing and share songs to celebrate this occasion of asserting your rights as Gwa'sala Nakwaxda'xw in your homelands, in your territories, so that your children can go home, that your children can harvest when they need to, not when they're told to by Canada. So kailan kaya nino kad naman stan khalaklands to yukwa. Okay, we're calling upon our ladies to come and dance and celebrate as we sing. We usually have a curtain where they come out of. So I'll have them come here and explain in the sense that our Shlamilas, it separated us from the spirit world and the physical world. And when they come out, they come from the spirit world and come join us physically.
Choke